Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I have a good one for you because today, well, we always like to hear about mistakes that we could be making and hopefully how to avoid them. So that is what we're talking about today, and let's get into it. So guys, I came across an article on Run Street, and Run Street is definitely a website that you should have bookmarked because there's loads of good like running articles and training stuff. But the article that we're going to talk about today was written by Marnie Coons, and she runs the Run Street website. And the article is titled 10 Common Running Mistakes and How to Fix Them from a Coach. So I think we're just going to go through these, and you know what's going to be fun is if you tell me if you have made any of these mistakes, because as we go through them I am going to be telling you the mistakes that I have made in the past and are probably still making as this video is happening. I mean, obviously I'm not running as this video is happening, but in my running life right now I am making some of these mistakes. So let's get right into mistake number one, and that is overtraining. You know how it goes. I mean, I think maybe if you are an experienced runner, you are less likely to experience overtraining, but no, I don't know. I think we always want to push ourselves just a little bit. And when we have like a new goal, it becomes very easy to push ourselves into reaching our goal. And we can very quickly reach that overtraining place. Now, I do say that more seasoned athletes might not be quite as likely to fall into that overtraining trap because when you're a new runner, I suppose you just don't know how your body is going to respond. So you want to push yourself more and more so you can get the very best out of yourself. And I know that in years past, I have definitely fallen into that overtraining trap, thinking the more I do, the better. And it's somewhat intuitive, isn't it? Like we work out, and by working out, I mean we run, we structure our runs, we go to the gym, we do all the things we're told to do because hopefully it's going to make us better, stronger, faster. So obviously, if we do X when we get strong, if we do X plus 1, we're going to get stronger. Well, it doesn't always work that way. And worst of all, when we do get to that overtraining stage, it can very often lead to burnout and probably worse than burnout, injury. Okay, mistake number 2 on Marnie's article is repeating the same runs over and over again. And that's because, you know, I think as a whole, as a population, not just runners, but as humans, we are typically creatures of habit. And it's very comforting to just go out and run the same distance, the same effort, day in and day out. And you know what they say about doing the same things and expecting different results? Basically, we're not going to get better. And this one, I hate that it's already the mistake number 2, because this is one that I find that I make, or at least this spoke to me when I read it, because I seem to run a lot of my runs the same distance at the same pace. Now, even though I am adding in some speed days and some tempo days and maybe a long run every other week, maybe a longish run every week, but definitely my long run is every 2 weeks, it does feel like I am just doing the same thing time and time again. Now, I'm not 100% sure that this number 2 mistake is actually speaking to me, and that's just because I do incorporate some speed work and some tempo runs. There is just also a lot of repetition. I think maybe it's for the people that are not doing that speed work, where they're just going out and they're running the same distance at the same pace every day. And that's totally fine. That's totally fine if you're not trying to, I don't know, get faster in the 5K, the 10K, well, any race. But if you do want to improve, the article recommends that you focus on progressive overload. And that is where you slowly overload your body. Not to the point of overtraining, but you know, where you slowly add a bit more, where you start off with a short interval run or a short tempo run each week, and that slowly grows as your training program goes on, depending on what event you're actually training for. Okay, moving on to mistake number 3, and this also spoke to me, but the next mistake is not setting goals. And setting goals is important because if you don't know why you're running, you're more likely going to stop. And I don't necessarily think that goals have to be race related, because a lot of us are not running to race. For me at least, I do have some races that I'm thinking about later in the year, but I have a several month period of time throughout the summer where I really don't have any goals, at least not race goals. But just because you're not setting race goals doesn't mean that you can't set other goals. So your other goals could be something like consistency. For example, I am going to run at least 5 days a week throughout the summer. Your goals could be time. On those 5 days a week throughout the summer, I'm going to run at least an hour a day. Or your other goals could be, I'm going to incorporate at least one speed work in my week of running throughout the summer. And you could dial into it even further by making that an interval run or a tempo run. You know where I'm going. It doesn't always have to be a race at the end of the rainbow. Of course, if you are setting a race goal, then that's probably easy. In fact, I'd say a race goal is kind of a cop-out, right? Anyone can set a race goal because it's fun and exciting and we're looking forward to it. It's not easy to set somewhat boring goals. So with that, let's move on to mistake number 4, and that is not following a training plan. Basically, if you're not following a training plan, if you're just randomly just grabbing runs in the dark, you're really not going to get to where you're going. But I suppose on the plus side, if you don't have a training plan and you also don't have any goals, then you really don't need a training plan. I guess by eliminating one, you eliminate both, and those mistakes can just be written off. No, but in all seriousness, there are a lot of coaches out there that can provide training plans for whatever you're going for. And this is especially true if you are looking to run a race, because your training plan is going to outline these specific workouts, these strategic workouts to get you in the best shape for the event that you're training for. And I know that for me right now, I'm not following a training plan, but I'm trying to just maintain a base level of fitness. So when it comes time to actually look into a plan and start training for my next event, I have that fitness ready so I can just charge in and take care of business when I need to. The 5th common running mistake that runners make is running in bad shoes. Look, I think bad shoes. I mean, yes, there are obviously bad shoes, or not bad shoes, but inappropriate shoes for what you're actually doing. So let's say you are running in shoes that are totally worn out. Well, those are probably bad shoes. If you wear the wrong shoes for whatever running habits you have or your gait, those would probably be considered bad shoes. So for example, if I overpronate a lot and I would really benefit from some kind of stability or support shoe, and I'm only running in neutral shoes, then yeah, I suppose that could be considered a bad shoe. And of course, there's the old recommendation of changing your running shoes every 300 to 500 miles. Of course, that's going to depend on the runner. It's going to depend on the shoe. Your running shoes are not going to last forever. And it's important to know that so you don't start running in shoes, when they're worn out, because that can spark injury. I remember very far back in the beginning of my running journey, I went to the New Balance store here in Sarasota and I bought a pair of daily trainers. And I don't even remember what the number was, but I remember I felt really cool buying a specific pair of running shoes, and they worked very well, but they were a big clunky daily trainer. And then some time passes and I want something lighter, something a little faster, so I went and I bought a much lighter pair of New Balance running shoes, and I loved them so much because they were so light, they just felt much better, so much quicker, and I started wearing those lighter running shoes all the time. Well, of course you can guess what happened when I ran just all my runs in a very light and not very cushioned running shoe. I got injured, and also I wasn't following a training plan, and it turns out I was probably overtraining. So I can't just blame the shoes, but for the sake of this video and this segment, 5th mistake being bad shoes, I will blame the shoes. Next up, the next running mistake is making excuses. And guys, excuses, I make so many excuses. But if you are making the type of excuses like, I'm tired, I don't feel like going out, I'm not motivated to go for my run, then those are the type of excuses that are going to get you in trouble, because discipline is a muscle that we have to work out. And if you give in just because you're tired or you're not feeling motivated, then what's to stop that from happening the next time? Well, there's nothing to stop you. And once you stop, it is so much more difficult to get started again. So those excuses, those are a no-go. You're going to know what the right excuses are. Like if you have a family commitment, that's a legit excuse to not go for your run. You feeling a little tired or not feeling like going out, just not feeling motivated, that doesn't fly. And if you've seen these short videos that I've been posting every day for a couple months now, it seems like, you know that I will complain daily about how tired I am. At least that's how it seems. But I am still out there running even though I'm tired. And I promise you that if I can do it, you can do it. And with that, the next running mistake, number 7, is not eating enough nutrients. Look, I'm not a dietitian. I'm not here to tell you what to eat. I want you to eat what you want to eat. I just want to make sure that you do eat and you eat enough, because you are an athlete and your body needs to refuel. And when you refuel, your body's going to repair itself. You're going to get stronger. You're going to be able to achieve all those goals that I know you're setting. Like if one of your excuses is that you're tired, that you're hungry, I don't know, and yet you're still withholding calories for some reason, then you just need to stop. If you are an athlete, you need to eat. But again, not a dietitian, got no training in anything nutrient related. I probably wouldn't recommend that you eat what I eat. I'm definitely a creature of habit. I could eat the same thing every day for the rest of my life. And I eat a lot of chocolate and ice cream. So definitely don't do what I do. Just, pick your own path and follow it and eat enough. Which brings us nicely onto the 8th mistake that runners make, and that's not hydrating enough. Basically, if you're going out for a run and you feel thirsty, that's going to be detrimental to your run. But it starts before the run. You've got to hydrate throughout the day, hydrate throughout the night. I mean, I leave a drink on my bedside table just in case I get thirsty. But if you're going for a run, bring something with you to drink. Fuel your body appropriately and your run will be a lot better. Mistake number 9 is not cross-training. And look, cross-training it's fun, I suppose. I mean, it's not really fun. I mean, it's fun if you want it to be fun. One of these things you just have to make a decision to actually like. I enjoy cross-training because I think I can't run as much as I would really like to. So Cross-training kind of scratches that itch. And also, if you're not doing strength training, then that is something to also incorporate into your run training. And you will be a better runner because of it. And look, there's loads of cross-training that you can do. Walking, cycling, swimming, ellipticaling. I am often ellipticaling, but you do you, boo. Pick a nice activity that you can do that supplements your running, and you will be a stronger runner because of it. And finally, this is a big one. The 10th mistake that runners often make. Are you ready? Because I still make this mistake years after starting running, but it's doubting yourself. Self-doubt is a huge mistake to make with your running because it's just going to creep in. It's going to sit in your brain and it's going to make you think things like, I'm not a real runner. I don't belong here. I'm not good enough to go here. I'm not fast enough to run this race. And look, this isn't just new runners. This is well-established runners. This is pro runners. Doubting yourself is very common, but we have to be on guard and we have to address it when those doubts creep in. Build that confidence by telling yourself that what you're doing is a big deal. Like even the little things. When you're tired or you're hungry or you're not motivated and you're thinking about making an excuse, but then you go out and actually go for your run, well, that's fantastic. Tell yourself that that's fantastic, because finishing a run when it's not easy, finishing a hard run, that speaks volumes about your determination, and you are building that self-discipline muscle. So when it's really difficult to get out for the run, you're not going to have a hard time because you've been training it, confident, and you're ready to go. But guys, now I want to hear from you. What mistakes have you made in your running? Have you made any of those mistakes that we talked about today? Definitely drop a comment and let me know. And if you have made it to this point in the video, I want you to drop the ladder emoji. I think it's just like a ladder. And the reason for the ladder emoji is because we are climbing the ladder to be our best self. How's that? Or you're climbing the ladder like a ladder workout so you can get to your goal, whatever that goal may be. Anyway, drop that in the comments so I know that you made it to this point. But for now, it's Matt B. This has been 10 mistakes that runners often make. Be kind, be happy, run well. See you in a couple of days.